Good morning, everyone. Uh, if you guys were here last meeting, Grant resigned from the chair of this council because he's going to law school. Uh, he has given me his replacement, and I have yet. Everybody's got different crazy schedules, and I don't know how long I'll be in this position as a coordinator for the reentry councils. Uh, we have a coworker that's part of the reach that is in the hospital and will probably be for a while. And so I'm being probably going to be moved out of the coordinator position to the more reentries than I am now. But I am trying to get the everybody's schedule set up to where we can get uh, the guy that you guys might know him if you're up that way. Uh, Preston Lee, he is the program coordinator at WVU. So I've been trying to set up a meeting with him and my boss and Grant, so that way we can all uh, get everything on the right page. Because Grant says he wants to hand over stuff, and I understand that. So uh, I don't know, was anybody supposed to present today? Did Grant have anybody scheduled to present anything today or no?
No, but I actually have some updates for the council if y'all want to give me some time at some point.
Sure. I mean, I'm like I said, I have nothing because, like I said, uh, I'm as soon as I get done here, I got to go to Madison for a meeting, and I got to go see like four new clients up there. So, but no, if no one else has anything, uh,
I would be
Stacy, the floor is all
happy
yours.
to take over your meeting.
There
Okay.
you go. Have at it.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Stacy Nichols. I'm the outreach worker for Oxford House in the state of West Virginia and in Western Pennsylvania. The reason I am rejoining the reentry councils here in West Virginia is because we have some really good news. I know in the past, for a while, probation and parole were not allowing people to go to Oxford houses, and that's because we were not WVAR certified. A lot has transpired with legislation in the last couple of years, and Oxford House is now registered with OFLEC through the Office of the Inspector General. So now we are seeing probation and parole officers that are starting to recognize the value in giving access to Oxford houses. We have 24 houses statewide. They are wonderful houses. All of them are registered. So I'm just trying to get the word out to everyone because it seems like not everyone realizes that we are registered, and that we are an option for people who are coming from incarceration. So we have 6 houses in Parkersburg, West Virginia. 4 of them are for men, 2 are for women. One of the women's houses is a women with children's. We have 3 houses in Morgantown. 2 are for men. Excuse me. One is for women. We have 9 Oxford houses in Martinsburg. 6 of those are for men. One of those is a men with children's house, which is the only one of its kind in the state of West Virginia. And we have 3 women's. One of those women's is a women with children's house in Martinsburg. We have 3 in Charleston. One is a women with children's, 2 is men's, and we are going to be expanding in Parkersburg very soon. And we're actually moving June 1st, we'll be moving Oxford House King Street. They're getting an upgrade. Very, very nice house. So we've seen a lot of progress with Oxford House over the last 5 or 6 years. We have beautiful homes and beautiful neighborhoods. Most of the bedrooms and all of the houses are single bedrooms. Most of the houses do have 1 or 2 shared bedrooms, and that's because we find when people move in at first in early recovery, they do a lot better with a roommate, with that added extra support and accountability. Um, so the way a person would come into an Oxford House from incarceration is they would fill out what we call a reentry application. It is a little different from the standard application, and that's because it takes 80% of the membership vote to get accepted into an Oxford House. But someone who is incarcerated can't swing by the house to do an interview. And often they have a lot of barriers to even making a phone call. So the reentry application is the interview. The interview questions are on that application, and the Oxford House will review that application and will make a decision based off of the information on that application. When an Oxford House accepts a reentry application, they are agreeing to hold that bed until that individual is released. Sometimes we don't get a date. We don't get a date. They don't know when they're going to be released. So the Oxford House will hold that bed indefinitely, provided that individual uh, shows up to the house the same day they are released. If they do not do that, and that's on the application, so the applicant will know what the expectations are. Oxford houses have held beds in the past for up to 3 months, for someone coming from incarceration, and it's just our way of trying to like assist people of overcoming that barrier of we don't have a release date, because that can be very challenging for people when they're trying to go um, anywhere,
Right.
So we have a state website. It's oxfordhousewv.org. And on that website, a parent, a family member, a case coordinator, a reentry person at the jail can go to that website and download our reentry application. And then they can email that application once it's filled out to reentrywv. Let me double check the email address. It's reentrywv@oxfordhouse.us. We have a reentry person in each chapter in the state that assists the houses with uh, receiving the applications, reviewing the applications, and then writing an acceptance letter, because oftentimes that's needed. So we do have a person, they're not staff, they're residents. This is a service position on each chapter. But we want to make sure that those reentry applications are reviewed right away, and that these individuals who are incarcerated are given an answer right away, because sometimes just waiting on an answer in that environment can be very challenging. So we do find nationwide, we have 4,000 Oxford houses nationwide, and we do find that Oxford House helps people coming in from incarceration greatly in overcoming the many, many barriers that they face when coming out of incarceration. They are moving into a pre-made support system because the individual houses group into chapters, which groups into a state association. And we constantly have chapter meetings, housing services committee meetings. So they hit the ground running when they come into an Oxford House, because they have that support system, they have that involvement in the recovery community, and they have that involvement in the Oxford House community. Involvement in chapter teaches people networking skills, teaches people, I mean, that's how I have my job today, is because I joined housing services committee for Oxford House when I first moved in. And it really helps cut down on recidivism. We understand that barriers is the number one cause of that recidivism. So the more barriers we can knock down for people, the better. But people really do very, very well in Oxford House. Another thing I would really like you guys to know about Oxford House is that there's no time limit for how long a person can live in an Oxford House. A person can live in an Oxford House literally for the rest of their life if that is what they would like to do, as long as they do not relapse, they don't exhibit disruptive behavior, and they stay gainfully employed and pay their share of the household expenses. I lived in Oxford House for 8 years. 4 of those years was with my child, and I wasn't coming out of incarceration. So, these people aren't going to be looking for somewhere to go 6 months after they move in, a year after they move in. They can really take their time because people who are coming from incarceration, like I said, experience a lot more barriers than someone who's coming out of treatment, or someone who, is coming from being housed and not incarcerated. So it might take them a little extra time than the average person coming into sober living, because they need to get an ID, they need to get a birth certificate. They might have a challenge finding employment, which we also can help them with. Once once we establish an Oxford House in an area, it seems like everybody goes to work at the same businesses in the community. We find those businesses and employers that are sympathetic to people who are trying to rebuild their lives. So it's a lot easier for people in an Oxford House to find employment as well. So I guess, does anybody have any questions?
Uh, just one question there, Stacy. So you said you accepted people coming out of jail. Uh, I know like right now in the state of West Virginia, there is a lot of people that are incarcerated that are registered sex offenders. Do you accept people who are sex offenders or no?
So there's not an official policy against it, but I am going to be fully transparent with you guys. I stated before that it takes 80% of the membership vote to get accepted into an Oxford House, and that question is on the interview. And unfortunately, because we allow parents in the houses, even if it's not chartered for women and children or men with children, members often do have their children stay the night at the houses, and a lot of them are not willing to give that up.
I get
And
that.
also, they are aware that their address would have to go onto a registry. So we have not seen anyone with that
Okay.
status be excited. And I'm just being honest with you. Like I
No,
said,
no, yeah,
there's not a policy or a rule written down anywhere, but we just don't really see them get accepted into the Oxford houses, unfortunately. And yeah, we definitely need more resources for individuals because it's not always what people think. Sometimes it's just a matter of a birthday, but it's not so much about the charge, it's more about what they would have to give up to let that individual live there and the address going on a registry.
I understand that. Uh,
Stacy, can you
I was,
provide your locations and contact information and anything specific to reentry through pamphlets that could be dispersed to us?
So I don't have any pamphlets printed off at the moment, and that the reason for that is because I am moving a house. So
Oh, just
I can't give
electronic.
Yeah, I can give you though is we have our vacancy website, which is a list of all the houses nationwide, oxfordvacancies.com. You can go there and find a location of all the houses. There's pictures of the houses. There's also, it tells you how many openings the house has. There's a house phone number, house email address, point of
Okay.
contact. Oxfordhouse.org is another website. That's our national website, and they have a lot of literature. Um, and
And the
pamphlets.
intake form for reentry is there as well.
What's that?
The intake form for reentry, is that there as well?
So yes, oxfordhousewv.org, because it's
WV.
different from state to state, their
Okay.
reentry process. So our West Virginia's reentry application is at oxfordhousewv.org. So that's where the reentry application is, and that's also where the email address where a care coordinator, if they click on reentry, it gives them all the information that they
Perfect.
need to submit that application. The vacancy
Thank
website
you.
is our directory and everything. And I'm always happy to give people tours of the houses as well. So if you guys are ever wanting to come visit an Oxford house. Like I said, we have high quality standard of living in these houses, and our doors are open at any time. So, and I'd let you choose the Oxford house you want to see. So I'm not going to say, oh, I'm going to show them my best house. You can call me anytime, tell me what house you want to look at, and I will take you and you can meet the members and take a look at the house.
I can vouch for
maybe,
Stacy. I have been to one of her houses in Wheeling, the female house, and it was gorgeous and it was very nice and clean and yeah, it was extremely nice.
Thanks, Jen. We unfortunately had to pull our houses out of Wheeling though. We just couldn't, we only had two women in the house. We did close that house, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. It would probably be better now that you're certified with, get more filled up with
Yeah,
cremation.
that it
Yeah.
was very challenging when you
Yes.
limit a population to people who are not on probation or parole. It definitely impacts the
Yes.
vacancies in the house. And it's really unfortunate because, as Jen said, that was a very nice house. But we did lose it during that process of probation and parole, not letting people come to us. So I am glad that we were able to partner with the state and get all of our houses registered. I think we might try again in Wheeling, once we start getting these reentry applications flowing. We have vacancies uh, pretty much everywhere in the state right now. We very few in Parkersburg. We actually need 2 more houses. So you guys are probably going to see 2 new houses in the Parkersburg area soon. Um, but in Morgantown, we have openings for women immediately available. In Martinsburg, we have openings for women immediately available. We have a few for men, but pretty much any given day, we've probably got an open bed for a woman. Um, Parkersburg stays on a waiting list sometimes, though. So we're going to give them some more houses.
See, could you put your contact information in the chat for me? And that way, we
Yes.
can maybe reach out to you. And I'll put it on my eco sheet that we have here.
I will put our state website where you guys can find the application and the information about reentry. Oh, I meant to do that all in one message. Sorry.
That's it.
And I'll put the vacancy website up there as well, in case y'all want to go look and see where we have houses and. Okay. Thanks for letting me have your meeting. I appreciate it.
If you feel it, I had nothing prepared, and so I was, because where Grant stepped down, and then I haven't got his replacement in locked in yet, and so it actually worked out good.
Yeah, I would have put some makeup on. I thought this was going to be a camera off meeting, but it
Oh, you
worked.
didn't have to have your camera on.
Stacy, I'm so glad that you spoke. Um, I'm working with people at the Dismas in St. Albans, and I
Mhm.
have a guy that doesn't want to go back to Parkersburg when he's released.
Okay.
Trying to stay away from what he had came from, and he has a job right there in South Charleston. So I've been
Oh,
trying to
okay.
find him somewhere. So I definitely, actually, I've already brought up the website and I'm looking. So thank you.
Okay. Yeah. And if any of you do have someone fill out that application, like I said, I do have a reentry coordinator that is a service position in each of the chapters. But again, it's a service position. So this is something people are doing on their free time. So if you have an application in there and you're not sure if it's being responded to, you can call me and I can go in and look at it directly just to make sure it's being moved along. I'm sure we'll have a few bugs in the system in the beginning as we're getting everyone, it's been 3 years since we had probation and parole working with us. So I'm sure we're going to go through a little process of trial and error and, and things like that. So if you guys experience any trouble contacting someone or just need an update on the status of an application, please do call me directly. And I think that's all I have. I'm really excited to be back with the probation and parole. It's important.
Yeah, that's I know there's been a lot of places, especially in that area, because I have clients on the Getting Out app that, I'm like, I don't know where I can get you, but I'll try to get you somewhere, and then so maybe that can be a good place up that way.
Absolutely. It also opens us up to, because even before when probation or parole would, because every now and then they would allow someone to come, but there was no help for a move-in fee to get paid. A lot of resources will pay a move-in fee or a month for someone to move into a house. And it also limited us. We couldn't help our residents with that assistance. So now that we're registered with the state, people they can, get those resources from the state to move into an Oxford house. So it's just all good things. I think, you know, we're going to see these houses fill up and we're going to see a demand for more of them. And we're happy to oblige, you know.
Thank you. Anybody else have anything? Okay. Well, I will give you back 40 minutes of your, 39 minutes of your day. And I promise that either I will get the new reentry coordinator here, the chairperson, or whoever's taking my spot. We have one of our reentry navigators who's in the hospital for maybe a long time, we're unsure. So I've been given a lot of her caseload and everything, so they're going to look for someone part-time to take over what I do here, you know, the coordinator for the reentry councils. But I'm sure I'll see everybody here and there, and so you guys have a good day and enjoy it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jonathan. Appreciate it, Stacy.
Yeah, that's a hospital.